Good evening, everyone. I hope we're doing well, and I hope you've had a good weekend. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic. This is the Magical Coffee Hour, and I am Drake. Hope everybody's doing well. We got some people in here already. Eden, thank you for joining us. Immortal, thank you. I want to remind everybody, as well, Eden's sitting here saying, do remember if you enjoy occult content and metaphysical content, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe and turn on notifications so you're notified anytime we release new content or go live. Also, um, give a consideration to join us at our Working Dragon Mystic community. You can find links here at the top there. Immortals dropped them. You can also find them in the description box, or you can just go to workingdragonmystic.com. Click the community tab, take you right to us. All right. We also have an online school with online video courses. Same thing, workingdragonmystic.com. You'll see a tab that says online school. Simple. I like to keep it simple. All right. Now, tonight we are going to be talking a little bit about cryptids. I think everybody I know in some form or fashion either has a cryptid story or just doesn't believe in them at all. It's one of those interesting topics to me personally. And I thought we'd take a little time here this week and talk about them. Bigfoot's actually one of the bigger ones I'm seeing making the circuits of late. There's a lot of new evidence and sightings coming in, which I thought's pretty interesting. Um, I was talking with the community actually this week a little bit because I've been talking to a few of my friends who are really big into Bigfoot specifically and their cryptid research. And it's what they do. Now, I'm interested in it. I study it. I can't say I'm as big into it as these people. I really cannot. Point blank. Let's just be honest. Um, that being said, though, like everyone I know who's on the East Coast has been seeing a massive uptick in Bigfoot sightings, right? Which is pretty cool. That's got them super excited, right? Um, and as someone who, I'm originally from the Appalachian region, I find that fascinating. And I'll be honest, I want to retire in the Appalachia. So I like to keep an eye on things going on out there, and I keep my own little notes and records and whatnot. But I got to thinking about it after talking to them and making some notes and pulling some old maps. I spent some time on the West Coast, didn't I? And I know several Bigfoot groups out there. So I started sending out emails and messages and talking and doing what I can to find out there. See if there was an uptick in the Bigfoot sightings on the West Coast. See if it was going on in both locations, right? Ironically, it seems there's a percentage drop. Like they're still getting good percentages of sightings and everything, but it seems like they're lowering from year to year over. I want to say it was the last 3 or 4 years that they were talking about. And of course, you can't hear these two numbers and start to wonder if Bigfoot exists. Is it like leaving the West Coast and heading east for some reason? And we don't have any way to know. So, one thing I'm wanting to do, I haven't been able to do this yet, but hey, you viewers, maybe you can help out with this. I don't know. We are wanting to try and get Bigfoot sightings from Central America, right? Because like everyone I know researches on East and West Coast. I really don't have a lot of researchers in that central section. And the reason we are pondering this is we want to see if there's been an uptick in those areas to support the possibility of motion, right? Motion. Because if there's not been an uptick or a change there, there wouldn't be any evidence of any kind of motion. So that's one thing we've been thinking about. So if you have any Bigfoot sightings, West Coast, East Coast, Central U.S., let us know. We'd love to know. You can get a hold of me at the community. Join the community. Jump over there. Let me know. Me or the admin will make sure it gets recorded. We'd definitely love to know about it. Just give us the state and general location, right? If it's your backyard, don't give me your home address. I don't feel like invading your privacy that way. Just like state and town might work best. You know what I mean? Or state and county if you're that worried. Respect people's privacy. But all this has got me, thinking about it. We were talking a bit about the Rougarou, which we did do a roundtable on at one point, and a few of the viewers were asking me if we ever found anything. And I made mention like we saw some weird stuff out there. We saw some carcasses that we can't explain, but I can't say we ever saw a rougarou, right? And we got a lot of different things popping up. And it got me thinking, what actually is a cryptid? What do we consider a cryptid and why? Now, to me, a cryptid is a mysterious creature that is believed to exist. We don't have any proof of it as of yet. It's not recognized. Um, and we are searching for proof. Now, some people will put the myth that needs to be a mythological creature to be a cryptid. I don't necessarily agree with that because I don't see anything mythological about, I don't know, Bigfoot, for example. There's really nothing mythological about it in my minds. But it's one of those things where, we definitely hear a lot about it. And, there's some pretty good reasons to consider its existence. And I agree with a lot of people. There's good reasons to consider its lack of existence because, lack of proof doesn't prove existence. So, we got those little things. And it's one of those that I do wonder about because there's been plenty of animals throughout history that could fit into that cryptid category that were said not to exist or said to be extinct. And with enough time and effort, we proved otherwise, didn't we? And that's one of the cool things. That's why I love the data. I love the proof. When I go get into cryptid searching, I should make this very clear as we go forward. I don't want to do it just for fun and entertainment. I actually want to do it for data and finding out if it exists. So for me, there is that actual, need for the data to it. That's actually the fun for me. That evidence is the fun for me. A lot of people just want to get out there and every branch cracking is the proof of Bigfoot or whatever they're looking for. And that's not me. I can't do that. Just so we're clear there. Let's see what we got going on here in the chat. Matthias, it's good to see you, mate. Aylin, welcome. Kenny, good to see you. I haven't seen one, Matthias, I haven't seen one personally, but we did have a sighting on a police dash cam near the area a few years ago. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah, police dash cams. I get some really great stories and evidence from some of these dash cams. It's really cool. And now that more people are putting dash cams in their actual personal vehicles too, we are seeing an uptick in that as well, which I think is pretty cool. Let's see. A lot of people was expecting a big spike with like GoPros and stuff. The problem with GoPros is their battery's so short. You're like intending to record, right? So you're recording, and your distance isn't usually that far. So unfortunately, most of the GoPro footage, it's very easy to look at it because it's pretty good footage. Not to lie, they're pretty clear cameras in most situations, and you can tell it's a person in a suit. Unfortunately. And that sucks for me because that means a lot of people dismiss GoPro footage quickly because, oh, well, they're just trying to get clicks or it's, a hoax and blah, blah, blah. I would think that they said the same thing when generally any video camera came out. I think that was the mentality. Someone out there is going to have fun with it. We've always got people playing jokes. I mean, life should be fun, right? So I say we should look at the GoPro footage and, evaluate it honestly. And if it's a hoax, it's a hoax. But you never know because there's been plenty of people I know for a fact ride the same trail practically every day on their dirt bike or their motorbike or their four-wheeler. And they will mount a GoPro for various reasons. They're doing stunts or whatnot. They're taking nature shots, all kinds of random things. Some of them actually take B-roll while they ride through the forest and sell the B-roll. That's fine. No wrong with that. Make your money the way you want to make your money. And it's getting you out in nature. I'm not with it. But, any of these things could happen. You could be going down a trail that you go down all the time and something weird happen. I've had a lot of weird things happen in the woods. Doesn't make it a cryptid, but a lot of weird things happen. And honestly, thinking back at it, like if I still lived on my granddad's farm, I'd probably have some form of camera at some point all the time pointing somewhere because so many weird things happened out there that I would want some documentation, not so people would believe me, but so I can come back to the house and examine it and find out what the hell I thought I saw. Because that's always a question for me. Did I see what I thought I saw? Or are my eyes playing tricks on me? Is the weather playing tricks on me? Heat. There's so many things that can do it. And having that ability to go back and look at it and see it, I think would help a lot. Let's see what we got here. Haven't seen one either, but I've seen other cryptids. Well, hey, which cryptids have you all seen? If you've seen a cryptid, because we got plenty of cryptids out there. Mothman, I think right before 2020, I was getting reports of Mothman sightings on the rise, and everybody panicking into the world, blah blah blah. And I guess I can't laugh too much because 2020 did happen, didn't it? But do I think Mothman was a precursor to a bad thing again? No, I don't. Because if you actually look at all the Mothman sightings historically, yeah, there's been occasions where sightings are here and then something bad happens, but every time he's seen isn't something bad. So I don't believe Mothman sightings are prophetic, if you will. There's too many sightings for them all to be a prophetic thing, if that makes sense. Let's see, eating not deer, but yeah, you actually sent me some pictures of your not deer. I remember that. Appreciate those pictures, by the way. Let's see here. So, when we're out there and we're looking at these, be mindful of what we're doing. Be mindful of your environment, right? And try to get data and make sure that is clean and good. Because I went out with a Bigfoot group on the West Coast, and I know I've told the community this, and they were getting they were using a sound blaster and getting some, blasting out calls, and they were getting responses, right? They were really good, solid responses. I spend a lot of time in the woods, and I'm listening, and the call going out is exact every time because it's a recording, right? And I'm listening, and the call coming back, though not the same as the recording, is exact every time coming back. This left me to raise a question to the team. And I was like, okay, if our recording's going out exact, I was like, do you know if there's anyone else in these woods within sound range? Or do you have a way to lock this down? They're like, no, this is public land. I was like, okay, because that sound is identical each time. That's not something that really is biological. They're not that identical usually. I was like, that literally sounds like a recording. So how do we know that's not another group of Bigfoot hunters or something calling back to us thinking we're the Bigfoot? And they got upset at me. But it was a genuine question. And actually, the audio manager actually analyzed the footage, or the audio, I should say, not footage, because audio is heard, not seen. And she put it on a screen where she could see all the little peaks and the valleys and all that stuff. And she confirmed it was identical every time. She said that had to be a recording. Now, I'm sorry I asked questions, but that's the way I do things. Let's see, Matthias. With all the stories I've heard, we supposedly have cryptids in our area, but that don't even have names for. Yeah, there's a lot of cryptids, especially in the Appalachia and the South, that I've heard of. Like, local Southerners will have weird names for it and everything, but they don't really have a full traditional name for it. And some people do wonder, do some of these folkloric creatures overlap with more well-known cryptids or not? I don't know. It's actually an interesting, that might be something we might want to research, Mathis, over at the community. Try and get some of these lesser known cryptids and see if we can take the stories of them and see if they fit into one of these others. Because like you got the skunk ape, for example. The skunk ape, as far as we can tell, it is a Bigfoot that lives mostly in swamps, which would also supply its unique smell. But that's not to say Bigfoots don't stink either. Just those little interesting thoughts there. Immortal, what cryptid are you likely to get away from if you see it? And what one are you crap out of luck trying to get away? Honestly, most cryptids that I know of, I would say you're pretty much crap out of luck to get away from if you want, right? most humans to most animals that have any chase instinct, we're not really equipped to outrun them. We're not. That's just the truth. Like Bigfoot, if Bigfoot decides to chase us, let's be honest, you're in his environment, you're in his terrain. He has a much greater stride and a much larger strength capacity overall. So he should be able to jump and get over obstacles or bust through underbrush way easier than we could. So if they decided to pursue, depending on how focused they were, or, are they going to be happy with scaring you off? They may chase you out and, keep pace with you just to run you out. But if they're actually out to get you, I would say that they have a good chance of getting you. I really do. Just point blank. If you're in the woods, understand you're not actually in your environment, right? Like when people get pissed off that shark attacks happen, I'll be honest with you, this is the dumbest thing to be pissed off at in my entire life. I've never understood someone getting pissed off at a shark attack. Because guess what, people? We're not aquatic animals. That is their territory. That's their environment. If a shark wants to bite my ass when I'm swimming in the ocean, you know what? I'm the one trespassing. That's the way I see it. So, anytime you're in the animal's environment, you're trespassing. Remember that. I love to get out in the woods. I really do. But at no point in time do I assume perfect safety. I've been in the woods with copperheads, water moccasins, all kinds of nasty stuff, scorpions, spiders of all kinds. You're in their territory. You need to learn their territory. You need to learn their behaviors. You need to learn their habits, and you need to respect them. Or you may not come out of there. That's pretty much the simplicity of it. All right. I can't really think of a cryptid that I've gone looking for that hasn't chased humans in some way. Some of them do have a violent, even lethal history. Some of them not so much. A lot of people view Bigfoot as peaceful, yet you don't have to look far to find highly, highly aggressive Bigfoot stories. Hell, in the Pacific Northwest, they're all over the place. The tribesmen out in the Pacific Northwest, they have what they call the rogues. Essentially, it's Bigfoots that have been exiled from their group or their pack, and they basically go wild and feral, and they get very, very violent, right? Which tracks with other things that we've seen through Canada and Alaska, because if you believe in the migration from California up to Alaska that Bigfoots might be making yearly or bi-yearly, in Canada and Alaska, we have had Bigfoots get extremely violent, and I do mean extremely, even some lethal encounters. So it's one of those things. I don't ever take nature for granted, and this concept of people running up on wild animals thinking they're cute, that's a great way to get yourself hurt or killed. It really is. So I would assume practice extreme caution in all cases, right? Because I can't really think of one. Like the Rougarou, as far as I've heard, there's nothing nice and polite about a Rougarou. I've never heard a story that's anything but lethal. As a deadly animal trying to get you. And every person who has gotten away considers themselves lucky. They don't consider they don't think they're an Olympic sprinter or anything. They consider themselves 100% lucky. So that's something to consider there. Let's see. Feed out. Never mind. Okay. It glitched on your side. I think any dogman or werewolf type would be considered very dangerous. Yep. Canines full on have a chase instinct. Absolutely have chase instinct. And it makes sense. Like it's a survival mechanism. So any form of canine creature, canine of some kind it would be wise to just assume it has a chase instinct. And since it has a chase instinct, it's probably good at chasing its prey. So you're going to have to take that into consideration. Does that mean sit down and give up? No. Make it work for its dinner at the bare minimum. Who knows? We might get lucky. You know what I mean? I'm never going to roll over and give up. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, running is not always the correct activity. It's not, because you actually can trigger that chase instinct. Sometimes backing away slowly is the right thing to do. And I'm not here to tell you how to behave around animals or anything like that. Do your own research, take actual classes, find someone who specializes in animal behaviors. Let's see. Why not chase a cryptid near an active tornado? I hope that's a joke, because I can think of a million reasons not. Uh, as someone who attends tornado parties when I live in the South, I can tell you, tornadoes are not a joke. They should be respected big time. See, Matthias, a lot of people don't know it, but we've had quite a few dogman sightings here as well. You know what? I don't think, I want to say you're in like the North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama-ish southern area. I don't, you're right. I'm not sure I've heard a lot of reports there, but I know I've heard a lot of dogman reports, Tennessee up. Definitely Tennessee up is where I've heard them. Along that Appalachian Smoky Mountain range. So it would make sense to me that that range continuing down into those lower states would, be very possible. And I've actually kicked around the ideal, is the Rougarou some form of dogman, or is the dogman something similar to what a Rougarou is, only further north, and maybe the territory itself's made it a little less aggressive. I don't know. But then the reports of the dogman, like, I get reports of the dogman. It's peaceful. It's minding its own business. He's just, just a little puppy boy. And I personally, find it might not be causing trouble, but please don't call it a puppy boy. You're just asking for someone to run hug it and get themselves killed. That's just stupid. At the same time, with that, there's the extreme violence all the way north. Like, there's violent activities of this particular thing all the way. So, I don't remember too many dogman stories from the West Coast when I was out there. But I do know I've heard of one or two. So I don't want to say they're isolated, though I have heard of some of them through Texas, Kansas. I don't want to say go up north on Wisconsin. I want to say it's like a Wisconsin area, somewhere in those northern states up there. And I just can't remember the exact. It might be Wisconsin. So Matthias, Audrey, and I used to storm chase together, so chasing a cryptid near a tornado just sounds like a perfect day to me. Well, you're not going to be able to get much good evidence on that, to be honest with you. Kenny Michael, maybe a migration route. Right. The migration theory for Bigfoot, it would make sense for a lot of other cryptids as well. And that's one thing I would like to see. Like, I've talked to a lot of investigators who are highly interested in like the dogman. Weirdly, none of them seem to really put in the migration thing. Like, every time I talk to them, I think I've talked to one that has actually considered migration. And it's like, seriously, what? Like, I asked them point blank. I was like, do wolves and coyotes migrate due to weather? Yeah. Why wouldn't a dogman? It's like, I think that's evidence that needs to be looked at. I'm sure there's got to be somebody smarter than me that's already looking at it. I just don't know them. But if you're out there, I'd love to hear from you. And hey, if the community here has some dogman researchers, let us know if you've looked into it, right? I'm actually thinking of starting some cryptid research projects over at the community. Sharing some of the notes I have, getting some notes from you all, see what we can put together, see if we can notice any patterns ourselves. Who knows? All right. Lady, what? Imagine flying claws and fangs. That's my why. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tornadoes would they'll tear you up. They will tear you up. Let's see. Oh, I've seen some of those storm chaser vehicles. I mean, they're freaking amazing. Like, gas mileage sucks, but they're freaking amazing what those things can do. And I love the storm research. I'm a research junkie. Like I love to watch sciencey things. Um, like true story. Like one of the things, like I was like, why is people watching this? This sounds stupid. Everybody's talking to me about this Dr. Pimple Popper, right? And it just sounds stupid. It's like, why would you want to watch this? And my wife mentioned it. She's like, oh, I've seen that on Deployment. It's actually kind of interesting. They really go into the medicals of it. And I was like, really? So we found it on, I want to say it's Discovery Plus or Netflix. We found it. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to watch an episode or two of this and see what everybody's talking about. I'll be honest, I got hooked. I absolutely got hooked because the whole science and everything behind it, it's just cool. Right? And the same thing with storms, like meteorological stuff. I love it. I don't know why. I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. I love to know things. So it's pretty cool how that stuff happens. Just joining in. Any thoughts on the Jersey Devil? You know, I've heard a lot about the Jersey Devil. I got to go on one trip to go looking for the Jersey Devil. I don't know what to say. I don't think the mythos is real. I don't. Okay. Looking at the mythos, it looks like an old wives' tale. It really does. I do not think that somewhere back in the past, some mama gave birth to a goat boy, and that goat boy is flying around in the woods to this day, terrorizing people. The story is too far fetched, and there's nothing to actually support it, unfortunately. That being said, something's being seen out there, right? So we know people are seeing something in the woods. Now, is it the woods playing tricks on them? That's possible. There's a lot of things, but also we got a lot of longtime woodsmen who the woods shouldn't be spooking. Not saying it can't happen, but they shouldn't be, and they're still seeing something. So we have to consider something's being seen. Is it a known animal being misidentified? Possible. Is it an unknown animal that we don't know what it is, so our imaginations are running away with us? That's also possible. That's why I love to get out there and do it. Sadly, for my trip out into the wilderness and looking for a Jersey Devil, though I got to have a lot of great conversations and learned a lot from the team members out there. And some of the old timers have been doing this for a while. We saw bupkis on that particular weekend trip. We saw bupkis. Now, there was one time during the night where it got creepy. Like, I don't know what it was. You could just feel a change in the air. Like, if you've ever done evocation, that shift in the room when you're doing evocation, like, something's there. It got creepy, but we saw nothing. There was nothing on cameras. There was nothing being disturbed. There was no disturbance in the woods or trees. Could have been anything. Could have been barometric pressure shift helped create it. But we didn't see anything. So I do think there's too many sightings to just chuck it out as nothing. One of the old timers actually kicked out on that trip. What if our Jersey Devil's just a Bigfoot wearing some kind of furs or something? Maybe some kind of furs that has horns on it, or at some point. We don't know. Does Bigfoot make any kind of trophy kill clothing? Would he make a coonskin hat? I don't know. And I mean, what do I tell this old timer? It's like, I got no reason to say it can't happen, but I would, at the same time, not everything with the sightings lines up, size, proportions. So I gave my arguments for it, against it, but I also saw his arguments for it, right? Because it's a discussion. You're trying to think outside the box and find a truth. And that can be difficult, but I do think there's something out there. There's too many sightings for whether it's a known or unknown animal being seen. Something's being seen, right? You all will find, I don't believe, like, even Bigfoot, with all the evidence out there, I can't say that I believe in Bigfoot because I've never seen proof of Bigfoot. I've seen evidence that something's out in the woods. And most likely, it seems most likely something we don't know about yet. Does that mean it's the classical image of Bigfoot? I'm not ready to go all in on that because I haven't seen the evidence. But that doesn't mean that there's not something out there that we don't know what it is. And that's the fun for me. What is it? Let's find out. Let's actually find the data. Let's prove its existence. Also been getting into the Appalachian Mountains lately on TikTok. Oh, Lord, good God, what's TikTok saying about us? Oh Lord, I'm sorry. You all know I'm not a fan of TikTok. Oh Lord. Hopefully they do us some justice. That being said, though, there was one young lady. I can't remember her name. Um, Someone was sending me her TikToks, and she was doing some Appalachian lore, and I actually got to admit she was doing a solid job. So maybe TikTok is actually doing pretty well there. That'd be pretty cool. Um, the Appalachian, a lot of people sleep on the Appalachia. Like they put their focus on so many places, and I don't know why. Because if you lived in the Appalachia or if you visit, you realize there's some creepy stuff going on in those mountains. Their home, I love them to death, but I'll be honest, I've never been to a place more unsettling than those mountains. That sounds weird. It's like if it's that unsettling, how is it home and why do you want to retire there? I don't know. I really don't have an answer to that equation. I just really do. It's home. It's the place I want. I love the fact the way the weather plays in the four seasons. You know, I get winter, I get a good solid summer where I knew it was summer. I know those mountains, right? I love those mountains. Um, that being said, every other place, even no matter how creepy it's gotten, it's none of them's ever triggered the hair on the back of my neck the way those mountains have. And who knows? Maybe there's a part of me that likes that creep factor. Maybe, I do love horror movies and stuff, so maybe that's part of it. I like a place that can scare me. Maybe that is. I can't deny that. Um, See, very long story short, we drove through one. Yep, I've been on the road. Don't think I've ever drove through one. I can't say that much. You got me on that one, Matthias. Been tiptoeing around the channel. I've been a devout Christian for an extended period of time. I taught God and have seen God work in my life. I've been seeing the number 8, 88, and 44. I'm not a numerologist, I'll be honest with you. Nothing wrong with God and Jesus. I used to teach in the church. I don't know more. Um, my friends joke I led more people to Jesus after I left the church. That's fine. Hope you're doing well. I'm not a good numerology guy. I'm really not. It's not one of the occult topics I've studied too much. I did study it for a while, but I never found enough meat on the bone to hold my interest, if that makes sense. I do apologize. But welcome. Hope you are enjoying the channel. So it's not me looking for these numbers either. They're placed in front of me. I've been deviating to fast track my life. I had Aleister Crowley's Libra 4 twice, burned both times. I mean, I'm not a book burner regardless. I'd have probably just sent it to the Goodwill or something. I've actually given away a lot of books, but hey, you did what's right for you, mate. Let's see, Kenny. They say that there are different types of Bigfoot. One of the cops I know personally captured one on his dash cam. Yeah, I know a few cops have captured him on dash cam. And I actually do think, like, when we think of Bigfoot, like, I would think that there are different kinds. Like, people think, like, the Sasquatch we know in the Pacific Northwest, that's the classical Bigfoot, right? And then, of course, in the Himalayas, you have the Yeti. Most people think that that is a Arctic evolved version of a Bigfoot. Then, of course, we mentioned the skunk ape earlier in the stream. They think that could be another evolution, And we see this in other animal species, right? We say dog, we know we mean canines, but we know not all canines are identical, right? Same thing with cats. Not all cats are identical. They do have similar behavior traits, but they're not all identical. None of us has a lion sitting in our lap as a house cat, though I know my wife probably would if the world would let her. God help me. But I'd say Andrea, born and raised Appalachia. That's all I know. I get you. I get you. I actually left there thinking I'd find greener pastures, but now I just went back. It's one of those things. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the travel. I am fully enjoy the travel, and I'm going to continue to enjoy it. But when we retire, we're heading back. We're heading back. Let's see. I can feel a pull with getting to know Lucifer and have been exploring working with demons. I know better, but I also listen to and respect your channel. Was wondering your take on this. Okay, that's fair. So my take is, in all honesty, and I'll be honest, me and Jesus and Yahweh have patched things up since I left the church. So straight up, I'll be honest with you. And actually, Odin's the one who encouraged me to patch those lines. So there's that. I can't really tell you what to believe with your faith, right? That's a personal thing. However, in my research, I've found no evidence of this war of good and evil, this battle of heaven and hell. In fact, I've found that the pantheons or the multiverse is larger than that. Not to say that there isn't a balance. There is definitely a balancing act. And I see this a lot when I'm working with the dragons. It's not about necessarily good or evil or right or wrong with that multiversal balance, but it's more like that cycle of life and death, that natural cycle that takes place. It's not neither good nor bad. Yes, the way we react to it and the way we do things, those can change, right? Because a hammer, it's a tool. You can build things, like you can build shelters. You can, you know, build something and create with it, or you can do a lot of harm with it. Let's be honest with you. So because of that, I try to step back and look at the entity lore, and I try to look at the religion side of it, and I try to find where religion and everything might be imposing one over the other, right? Because you see this in every religion. Every religion usually tries to post itself up as the right religion. Some of them don't, but then they'll turn around and argue and say this religion's dumb, right? I don't really go for that. We don't do religion bashing around here. Um, so if you feel like you want to reach out and speak to Lucifer, I'll admit he's one of the entities that took me the longest time to reach out to. It really did. And I didn't even realize I was putting it off. But when I did reach out to him, it was an interesting conversation. First off, he was actually very, very glad I'd listened to Odin and patched things up with Jesus. That surprised me. But then he hit me with a curveball, and he's like, I want you to do me a favor. He's like, you don't owe me anything no matter what, but consider looking into demons. He's like, find a demon, look it up, check its history. He's like, and what you may find is that a lot of the things that are labeled as demons or fallen angels actually belong to other pantheons or other religions pre-Christian time and got placed into a bucket that is essentially, these are bad entities. And he also pointed out that he's like, if you look, you'll find it wasn't only Christianity that done it. Other faiths, religions, tribes, cultures, they would try to remove another group's faith, their spirituality, and they would try to demonize it, is the word we would use today. And I was like, I can do that. I love research, so I can definitely do that. Why? And he's like, not for me, but for you. He's like, I want you to have a view. He's like, you take what you learn and apply it as you see fit. That's all he said. He wasn't defending himself. At no point did he defend himself. He actually wanted me to look into that to get a larger view. And as I did so, I was finding, he was right. And, I've had a few conversations with him over the years, and I've never found a situation where he's lied to me. I never found a situation where he's did me wrong. I've never found a situation where he's tried to condemn my soul. So, I mean, I can't tell you he's a good guy because, you have your faith, you have your religion, and I don't want to go against what you feel in your heart faith-wise, right? Faith is a beautiful thing if you have it. So, yeah, I mean, if you're interested in doing it, maybe check out, I want to say it's Demons and Magic. I forget the author, but it is listed in most of my descriptions below. It's a really easy to follow book on the Goetian, the Goetic spirits. Most people do refer to them as demons, but they were originally called spirits, just so you know. and it uses angels as the focusing safety. If and it's done very respectful on both sides. It's respectful to the spirit you're calling. It's respectful with the angels. If you're interested in something like that, that is a book that's very approachable and beginner friendly that I would recommend. But I would also spend some time in prayer and meditation and see if that's the right road for you. If it is, by all means, give it a try. And welcome to the channel. Um, glad you found us. And I hope you find some information here helpful. Well, I know people who's kept tigers as house pets too. They're not supposed to. It's illegal, but yeah. Let's see. Raised them. The thing is, you can still raise a cat like that as a cub, and its instincts can still kick in. It's happened hundreds and hundreds of times. So it's never a domesticated, safe animal. Let's see. See, Matthias, same thing here. We've heard slight variations of dogman types, and we have had sightings involving them stalking people. Yeah. During my time researching hellhounds, I got to find out a lot of interesting things. Dogman got brought up a lot. It really did. And the stalking thing really comes up a lot. And I mean, there's a lot of things that might stalk you, whether it's to hunt you or just to observe you and to follow you. There's a lot of things, but some of these stories are so detailed in what they saw that it's really hard to just toss it out. Like I'll be honest. If I get a chance to get back on the East Coast, even if they stick me in Virginia, I'm probably going to try to hit the woods and do some interviews about some dogman sightings. I really am. Let's see, Brandon, noting and listening. Andre, you remember Springer Mountain. Here's one for you, Matthias. A lot of people know this one. It's Devil's Throne out in the Appalachia. I want to say it's somewhere around Tennessee, North Carolina-ish area. Really creepy spot up on that mountain. It's a really cool spot. There's a lot of places that share that name, but I'm specifically talking about that one on the East Coast there in that region. Wondering if you guys have been up to visit, seen it, heard about it, any of those things. Let's see. Thank you. Just going to grab the book name one more time. Yes, I was listening to your offerings video today within a pact as opposed to a spell to open doors and more clear rather than spells. Yeah. The book's name was Demons of Magic. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle. You can buy the physical book. I don't know if I have the physical book. This day and age where we move so much, I tend to go with my digital variants just because it's easier and keeps my office cleaner. But I don't know if I have the physical one. That's one I don't know. I don't know. Let's see, Matthias. I've heard of it, but I have yet to go up there putting it on my list. I think it's a good place to put on a list. It really is. Be careful. Like it gets foggy, it gets stormy, and you can just like step off a freaking cliff. So be really careful up there, please. Let's see. Oh, there, Immortal got you the link. There you go. Good old Immortal, trying to help people out. that's don't die. We don't want people getting hurt out in the woods, and it gets dangerous. It really does. Like I grew up in a place where you could just take a tumble and it's bad, but I guess you just get used to that being a day-to-day possibility or whatever, you know. So here's a question for you all. And if you guys got any questions, we're here in about the last 20 minutes. My God, we had a lot to talk about, didn't we? If you got any questions, drop them. I'll try and answer them. But one question I would ask you all is, what cryptid is your favorite cryptid? Like, if you could investigate any cryptid, let's say you could take a month off work and get paid to investigate a cryptid, what cryptid would you jump on a chance to investigate? I'm curious. I really am. I love to ask that question because I've been asked that question a lot. And I'll be honest, it's a hard question. It really is for me. And I'll be honest, early in my career, the two answers would have been hellhounds or Rougarou, right? And I've investigated a lot of those things. And this day and age, for different reasons, I'm actually kind of shifting toward Bigfoot and skinwalkers for different reasons, but I am kind of shifting over to those as my go-tos. Bigfoot, because I think we are getting close. I think we're at the edge of discovery, technology, evidence, and everything. We're getting really, really close to finally having proof of what it is, where it is. I think we're really close. And that kind of excitement really kind of has me, like, I would jump at a chance to do that if I could. So, you know, being there, that's one of those really cool things for me. That really is. Let's see. Kenny, we got the Dog Man. Understandable. That one's probably in my top 5. Let's see. Ethan, not deer. I have a resonance with deer and have seen one. I can understand that. Alexa, I'm going to have to mute that thing sometime. 222. Skinwalkers. Yes, absolutely. Just admitted. That's one of the top 2. And I don't know which one's first and which one's second. I really don't. I've got so many Native American tribal friends I've talked to, and I'm just so interested. There's so many things. And it's an interesting one. The lore gets so muddled and mixed in so many different variations, but at the same time, so many things stay consistent, and there's definitely some oddities happening out there. And I've seen some, we'll call it compelling footage and potential evidence that has really just got me hyped, wanting to see what else we could possibly grab for that one. If I were to do a pact, I would want to sign with blood only because I have the notion it's the most powerful means of offering, but not required from what I understand. Immortal. Yeah, in my experience, blood doesn't really do anything one way or the other. It can be like, but if you're mentally there, just get you a disposable diabetic lancet from any pharmacy. It just takes a small prick and a dot. That's all it'll take. So do it safely and responsibly. Make sure you clean everything. You know how it goes. Don't do something stupid. Don't grab you a knife and, you know, yeah. So let's see. Matthias, I've studied lore and sightings on so many since I was a little kid, and for so long, a long favorite list. Right. Welcome to the club. It's difficult, but you got to pick one. What is it? I'll let you have 2 because technically I did 2, didn't I? I said Bigfoot and Skinwalker. Though honestly, I think hands down Bigfoot would take number 1 just because we're so close. I really feel like we're close. I really feel like it. And I know there's probably Bigfoot researchers who's probably felt that their whole lives and died and we never found it. And that might be my fate. But, you know. Let's see. To do Aelin Mothman. That is a popular favorite. I really do not know why Mothman's popularity is on the surge. But it is. My God, it's hard to find a millennial or zennial who isn't crazy about Mothman. Like, I've never seen a cryptid get this kind of press. His press and PR rep is amazing. Maybe I should hire him. Absolutely a fascinating one, though. Matthias. Well, that's more than two, mate. Hounds, Black Shuck, Mothman, Skinwalkers, Dogman, Rougarous would be my top pick. Look at Matthias. We'll give you two. Meow. Just takes the whole spool off the reel. Oh hell. No, that's totally that's legit, man. I understand that. I really do. Black Shucks. You know, the Black Shuck, the Black Dog, those things. My dad, not only was he a musician, but he spent a lot of his life as a trucker. So I got to hear a lot of those trucker stories. Phantom 409, the Black Dog, those kinds of things. So yeah, there's definitely an interest in there, and I do collect those. Like, I love to travel. I love to drive. Anytime I'm doing road trips, I love to stop at truck stops. So, I love trucker culture. I guess my dad was a trucker. I grew up with Smokey and the Bandit. It just makes sense, I guess. But I can sit down and talk to those guys for hours, and they have some amazing stories. And the Black Dog and stuff that they talk about, it's just wild. So I'm with you on that one. I heard you talking about the Lancet. Also, you speak about Odin. Also, Freya seems like you gravitate toward them. Yeah, Odin and Freya are two entities I work with quite a bit. I would even say they're very prominent in my life. Dragon magic and Norse magic are two of my go-to areas of practice. I got to honestly, I'll be honest, outside Jesus, I'd say more. I got a great deal of good advice and life wisdom from both Odin and Freya, and they've helped me through a whole being of rough times through advice and everything. Um, got me onto some really dark spots, and I'm very grateful for them. And at this point, the best way I can describe it is they're family. They really are. And they're two entities that I can sit down and talk to about anything, really. Um, so yeah, I definitely gravitate toward those two. So I try not to come across biased about them because they're very. One thing I love about them is they have their. Um, they're not even attempted to be presented as perfect beings, right? Um, that's one thing I do have some problem with certain religions is they try to present a perfect being. Um, so I do understand that. Now that's not to say that they don't necessarily see their flaws, though Odin definitely is less likely to admit his most of the time, unless he has a teaching moment. He's quick to admit them on teaching moments. But yeah, I adore him. Hopefully I can do them proud. Matthias. Okay, two. Rougarou, Dogman, and Sasquatch. Okay, so you're picking my two. That works, mate. That works, mate. Hey, I don't blame you for taking the whole spool off the reel. I don't. I get that it's a hard question to pick one or two. Same reason on Sasquatch as you. I don't get the joke. I missed something. Okay. Let's see. Immortal. Yeah, actually, yeah, Immortal's right. You should join over at the community, Brandon. Absolutely. Um, PR rip. Oh. Okay. Okay, I get you. Kenny Goatman. Yeah. Yep, there's another one. And actually, I do wonder if Goatman does relate to the Jersey Devil because of the descriptions. That is one that I do wonder. We get a lot of descriptions about the Jersey Devil looking like this two-legged goat thing, right? Um, Granted, it's got wings, which is a little awkward, but so I do wonder if there's some overlap between those two. And I think, and I've often wondered if the reason the Jersey Devil doesn't get this much spookier look is due to some of the mythology around it that really don't make sense. That it's morphed in the minds of the people into more of this thing. But that still don't explain a goat man, does it? So And it's weird because when I hear the Goatman legends and they're explaining what the Goatman looks like, um, this shows my Gen Xness coming through, but I can't help but think of the Barons of Hell from Doom. I really can't. That's just kind of what I think of. The original Doom, way back, the original Doom, not the newer ones. It's the new one was a good game, but I still, when I think of what those demons in the game looked like, I think back to the original art and versions. So I have to specify because the Barons don't really look as good in the new ones, in my mind. But that's just old age and retro and stubborn, right? Mine was better. Oh. Let's see. Matthias Drake. I'd already told you this, but I'm supposed to go to Scrap or Swamp soon to go look around for the lizard man with a friend. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's actually an interesting place out there. I've seen some of the pictures of some of the damage that was done to one of those automobiles, and I don't know. Like someone's like, a deer can't do this, and I'm sorry. I grew up in Kentucky. I've seen a lot of cars that hit deer. In fact, when I met my wife, her mom was driving what they referred to as the deer car because she hit a deer with it. It's a Southern thing. We just name vehicles by what happens to them, and I've seen deers completely wreck a car, and I've seen that. I don't know if it's something about the way they hit the horns, the hooves. They will just rip that car. Like you would think something came in with the jaws of life and cut the paneling. So I can't say it didn't hit a deer. I can't say that. But at the same time, my thought process went to, if it hit a deer, this person got very, very lucky, because if it hit a deer to do this damage, I'm surprised there's not more damage, right? So the context of a deer can't do this much damage, that's horse shit. Okay, I've seen way too many cars that's hit deer that were way more damaged. In fact, I was riding in one when the guy hit the deer. Was not fun. And yes, he did take it home, make chili. That's aside the point. So I can't say that deer can't cause that damage. My interesting thought is that more damage wasn't done, but at the same time, I have seen people hit deer where they get lucky, straight up. They get lucky in the amount of damage done. So it's one of those things, like, I'm looking at it and it really looks like something just ripped this car. It does. I don't deny that at all. But it is one of those things where I can actually think of real world examples that could explain it. But that's still such an interesting cryptid down in that area. And dude, have some fun down there. Get some good shots. And if you find any good shots or evidence or audio, please consider sharing them with me. I'd love to see them and hear them. I absolutely would, mate. Kenny, don't drive your car. Yeah, don't. You don't want to be the next car that gets totaled. That's for sure. Oh, Lord. Yeah, someone told me it's a rite of passage to have a deer destroy your car in the South. And I've told them, I was like, well, it better be a family rite of passage, not an individual, because I'm going to get pissed if a deer wrecks my car. Oh, but I will say, of my friends that I know that's hit a car or hit a deer, I'm a better driver. I actually pay attention. Most of them don't pay attention to the level that I would say they should. If that makes me sound like an old fart, I don't give a crap. That's just, I've always drove that way since I was little. Or, well, yeah, little. Most people's like, you mean 16? No, I actually mean little. I was driving a tractor and a riding mower when I was pretty little. My dad used to actually put me in his lap and let me drive the truck even. So, good times growing up, Let's see, Matthias. Oh, I'd hurt a lizard man over my car. Right. Doesn't even have to be a good car. It's just like it's your car, right? Oh yeah, there's like deer everywhere where I grew up, and actually where I live now, deer are smart creatures. People think deer are stupid. Deer are smart. Like you will see deer all over military bases, everywhere. Like you have a really good chance of getting hit by a deer or hitting a deer near a military base because they know they can wander in, they can eat, they can have a good time, they can look around, and you can't shoot them. They know it. They know they're safe, and they know outside some redneck breaking the law, they're okay. And most rednecks don't want to deal with MPs, I'll be honest with you. So, yeah, you see deer all over the place. Since my wife has joined the military, like the number of deer that will just stand in the road and look at you like, what are you going to do about it? It's annoying. Anyone who's ever had to deal with seagulls, like seagulls just don't care, right? They just don't care. They don't move. You don't want to hit them with your car because they're nasty ass birds. And they know you don't want to hit them, but they don't move. Imagine deer with the attitude of a seagull. It's freaking annoying. Like the first time you see them, it's like, oh, look, deer. Man, that's a pretty deer. Yeah, that's nice. Within a year, you're like, get the hell out of the road. Come on, Bambi, move it. Gets old. And I'll be honest with you. Next time I'm home during deer season, my brother goes, you want to go deer hunting? I'm going to take out some rage. Okay. I'm going deer hunting. And I'm not going for trophies. I'm going for meat because I got a bone to pick. Anyways, that's my rant. Say Brandon was trekking along the border in Niagara Falls, saw a pack about 15 of them. Gorgeous animals. Oh, they are. They're absolutely gorgeous. There's no doubt. Niagara Falls is amazing. I'm glad you got out there to go see it. It is beautiful out there. And yes, there's the clocks getting thrown at me. That seems fair. Ethan, fair. I love me venison. I really do. Prepared right, venison is delicious. Whether it's in sausage and chilies or steaks or tenderloins, and I know how to prepare it. I've seen people screw it up. I've seen. I've kind of reached the point when people say I don't like venison. It's like you don't know how to cook it. I don't care if they got a chef's coat on; they screwed it up somehow. So yeah, I love me some venison. Honestly, one of the coolest things when I didn't hunt as actively, like most of my hunting I did with my dad, is something to spend time with him about. But I knew so many people who did, and most of them were trophy hunters, but they don't want to waste meat. Like they have that good country boy, you don't waste anything attitude. So their solution was, hey, let's give it away. And since I was on the friend list, guess what? It's like, have venison. I'm like, yes, please, thank you. It was great. It's always good to have hunters as friends. Well, okay, maybe vegans don't feel the same way, but you know, hunters still make good friends, even if you're vegan. You might not want any of the meat, but hey. See, my fam would butcher whatever we got, and we'd have venison for you. Oh yeah. We absolutely do. There was some guy actually broke down. It's like you can buy a rifle for $400 or $500, box of ammo, go deer hunting, and for that small investment of around $600, you'd have enough meat to feed your family for a year. And it's like, you know what? He's right. He's right. He really is right. Very affordable. All right, everybody. You all have a fantastic. This was a lot of fun. I will try and come up with another good topic. Maybe we'll zero in on a cryptid. Maybe we'll talk ghost hunting or something next week. I know a lot of people have been wanting to pick my brain about ghosts and spooky things, so maybe we'll do that next week. We will see. If you are here, if you've been enjoying this, consider joining us at the over at the online community over there. You can also become a supporter over there for just $10 a month. Get you access to the online school, well, some of the courses. Or you can just purchase the courses individual, including the evocation course. Definitely give us a check out. We love to see you over there. Everybody, you have a good one. And if you're vegan, we still love you. Don't worry about it. Just don't try to convert me. That's my big one. Don't convert me. I'll cook for you. You tell me what you need. I will make it. I will be a gracious host. I'm a Southerner after all. Just don't try to convert me because I'm also an asshole. So, I can dig in and get stubborn. But yeah, we love you all the same. Everybody have a great week, and I will see y'all next week. Take care. Good night.